Hey everyone, I hope you're having a great day. Today I'm going to cover the most frequently asked questions on pricing your coaching programs. If you want my notes that have the question and the answers here, you can just go ahead and type notes. And we are going to have a no-brainer offers challenge coming up. And go ahead and type challenge if you want to just go through all of these things together, where we're going to walk you through the 5 steps to making a no-brainer offer, of which one of them, of course, is how to price them. So let's go ahead and jump into the first question that we always get. And by the way, if you have questions about pricing, also go ahead and drop them in the comments, and we'll either add them to the No Brainers Offer Challenge or point you in the right direction, because we know this is one of the trickiest parts about starting a business. So the first question is, do I charge per session or make some sort of package? And that is a very, very good question. When I first got started, I fully got caught off guard by someone wanting to hire me. I'd put up 3 podcast episodes, and I ran into one of the karate moms, and she said, "Will you come to my sales event?" And I said, "I'll come to your event if you listen to my podcast." And she listened to the podcast. I had 3 episodes, and she sent me text, "I think I might want to hire you to help me." And I was like, okay, I guess it's like $100 a session, and we can meet weekly or every other week. She chose every other week, and that's how I got my first client. And she literally paid me by check, and I actually still have the check. And in fact, one of the times, the first time we got evacuated due to fires, I live in Southern California. I kind of looked around for all the mementos, and then like that check was actually one that I grabbed because it just meant so much to me. It was my first client. And so there's no shade in charging per session. But here's what I will say as the person who's talking right now on this video is you're going to do much better when you focus on an outcome and steps and have a path to success, because it creates more certainty and safety for your potential client. And so what works better than saying I charge this much per session, we can do 4 a month or 2 a month until whatever you have is done, which is okay. Instead, we want to lay out the steps we're going to take. So maybe instead I would say, okay, the first, we'll spend 2 or 3 sessions working on your sales conversation. Then we'll spend 2 or 3 sessions going through how to get referrals and how to schedule appointments. And then we'll spend 2 to 3 sessions working on leadership and stuff like that, right? And so it'll be three months or whatever, right? Like that would have just been so much better if I had a path to success. And so what you want to do is you want to go ahead and just lay out the steps. And again, we're going to do all of this together in the No Brainer Offers Challenge. But now you have a package. So it's not like a package of sessions. It's actually the topics or the steps that you're going to take, so that we're like, here is the path. Would you like to walk down this path with me? People pay for structure, support, and speed. They do not pay for sessions specifically. Putting a path to success together actually increases the value of the program as well. And this also really helps with our feelings of self-doubt and imposter syndrome. So in the conversation of sessions versus package of sessions, we're actually going to put together a path to success, and that is going to be our offer. The second question is, if they say no to my price for 60-minute sessions, should I offer them 30-minute sessions? And this was actually a question we got from our client in the What to Say coaching program. And she'd come to our last no brainer. No, she's not come to the no brainers challenge, but she started implementing our social media stuff. She already has someone interested in the coaching. And so if you have like, this is really a question around affordability. So what we know is that coaching is a premium product. It is something that is appropriate for people who have expendable income, and it's a premium service. And so when we make our offer for weekly coaching, and specifically in this video I'm talking about one-on-one coaching, group coaching is just a little bit of a different mindset. What they're talking about is like, okay, this is my budget. And so when we take, let's say my package of coaching is 12 sessions over 3 months, and they're expecting me to cover those topics and it's probably going to take 60 minutes a session. If we offer them 30 minutes a session, we are going to cut corners. We are going to go halfway. We're not going to be complete. And they're going to be dissatisfied and we're going to be stressed and we're going to end up over delivering because we have to do the job. And so we're going to end up doing 60-minute appointments anyway, or we're going to have a disappointed client. We know that intuitively. And so the better move is to take that 3-month program and extend it to 6 months, and instead of meeting weekly, meet every other week. So now let's say that coaching program is $1,000 and it would be 333, just to use very simple math here, per month. If we stretch it out to 6 months, now it's like $175 a month. And so that makes it more affordable. You're not diluting or watering down your program. You are not going to end up in a situation where you have to deliver a higher price program for less money. We'll just take the same transformation, the same path to success, and we'll just extend it out. And this helps with affordability. This helps with pacing. They get the same path, the same depth, the same support, the same outcome, the same transformation. And that is good. The third question is just a general, where do I start? Where do I start with my pricing? So we want to put together a path to success. Ideally, that's between $9.97 and $29.97. That's our goal. And so we're gonna, set it up. So we're like, and usually it's about 3 months. I had a client recently who was like, I only need to do these 4 sessions. And it was in group coaching, it was for nutrition coaching. And I said, really, 4 sessions? So we put the 4 sessions up on the board. And then I asked the rest of the group, there were about 20 people in that group, on that call. And I said, guys, do you think this could, if you were the target market, because a lot of our clients were in her target market, so do you think that this is going to do it? And they were like, oh no, I would need at least 3 months for that. And so sometimes we consider implementation from an expert perspective, as opposed to the fact that we are the expert and they are beginners, is going to take them longer to get in the routine. So if we can get to 3 months, that's really good. And that gives us 997, basically 1,000 to 3,000. The most important thing when it comes to pricing when you are first starting out is that you are making offers and that about half of the people are saying yes, not that you make the most amount of money possible. And so for that reason, I am also in support, and this is something that I did when I started, and I recommend my new coaches to do, is to start off with a 50% friends and family discount off of whatever you want your coaching program to be. What this does is allows you to get a few clients really quickly because it's just such a win-win scenario for people that you know that are in your target market. You get the practice, you get to work stuff out, you get the success stories that come with it. They get a great deal and they also get the transformation and they get to work with someone they like and they trust and they care about. And so it's a win-win overall. The fourth question, should I put my prices on the website? This isn't ideal with a caveat because it's actually too far down the sales process. So what potential customers want to know is this in my range? Is this in striking distance? I don't want to waste my time. When we go on our website and we actually put the specifics of the coaching offer, it's actually doing our clients a disservice because we need to build value. We need to show them what coaching is. We're probably doing a complimentary coaching call. We need to get to know them, their goals, lay out the path to success, etc. People don't buy coaching like they buy a book or buy a shampoo or anything like that. But we do want transparency in pricing. And so what I would recommend is if you want to put something on a website, instead of putting the actual offer, say, within our coaching programs, we cover this and this and this and this and this, and the prices range from this much per month to this much per month. And so in the example we used earlier, where it's like a 3-month program that's about $1,000 or a 6-month program, then we can say the prices are going to range between 175 a month to 500 a month, depending on your motivation, your speed, what specific challenges you have, etc. So let's go ahead and have a conversation about that. That's how we want to put prices on a website. And so that way they understand that, hey, I'm going to tell you so that you know this is in your range, but actually the next step is not to decide, are you going to buy it? Actually, the next step is to see within the problems that you have, are those within the scope of what it is that I do. So we want to make sure we honor the client journey and not get them too far down the journey and then have them make a no decision. The next question is, do I do payment plans? This is a 100% absolute yes, we do payment plans. We actually want to structure the coaching program so it is a monthly, and then they get a 10 to 20% paid in full discount. People love this. It also will increase the amount of yeses you get. And then remember, you want to have a weekly option and an every other week option. That will help a ton. The last question that I'm going to answer today is just really, I don't know exactly how to phrase this as a question, but it's like this underlying one we all have is like, am I worth it? My imposter syndrome, my self-doubt. How do I know this is going to be worth it? And that is a really, really tricky that's a really, really tricky thing. And so I want to address this in two places. One on the practical, like literally, is this worth it? And then the other, like the emotional and mental piece. So first, we're going to start with practical solutions. The first is to know if it's worth it. We talk to the target market. And we're like, what is hard? What is hard? What is hard? And we're going to make that easier. We're going to put together a path to success and a package, which is how we're going to give them structure, support, and speed. We're going to do all of this together in the no-brainer offers challenge. So if you want those details, make sure you write challenge in the comments. If they bring up something that, like, one of the things that makes me that I worry about is, what if they ask me something that I don't know the answer to? Am I going to have to pretend that I know the answer even if I don't? I don't want to come across as a fraud or anything like that. But there's actually a really practical solution to this. And the practical solution is, that is a great question. I've not yet received that question. I'm going to go and give it some more thought. I want to respond with a thoughtful answer, and I can get back to you tomorrow or in a day or two or whatever. Will that work? And they will always be like, yes, that is great. Thank you so much for being thoughtful. And we don't have to be like, I don't know, and then crumble. And this was something that I was really worried about. And now I don't worry about that anymore because I have that wording to help me, to just basically buy me time to go and figure it out. Because if you're a coach in that space, you may not know all the answers, but you probably know better than your client what questions to ask. And when we know what questions to ask, we're able to do the research, we're able to find the people, find the resources to get our person in the right direction. Now, the other part of the self-doubt and imposter syndrome is the emotional and mindset piece. Many people have imposter syndrome. So what is imposter syndrome? This is where I actually know what I'm doing, but I feel like everyone's going to think that I'm a fraud. And this is usually based out of expert intuition, and we can't really quantify how we know something or don't know something. And so imposter syndrome is very, very natural for people in the expert space. And I will say it is actually a prerequisite to be in the expert space, that if you see someone who's in the coaching business and they don't have a little bit of imposter syndrome, I would worry about that, because that's just kind of part of the game. And I used to think, when my imposter syndrome would take over, and I had imposter syndrome so bad that I got a rash all across my chest and neck. I was on so much medication. One day I woke up and it was so bad I had to go to the ER to get like IV medicine to keep it from going up to my face. Like, I know imposter syndrome in a way. I've not met anyone with imposter syndrome so severe as what I had, that it made me so physically sick. And what I've learned now after being in coaching for 10 years, so that was my second year in coaching, is that imposter syndrome actually is not a bad thing. Imposter syndrome means I'm about to up level. And that was what was happening when I was sick. Is our business was growing and growing and growing, and I was like, I'm not good enough to keep this up, and everyone's going to find out I actually don't know what I'm doing. But like, when you're up leveling, you don't know. That's actually part of it. Part of it is you're going to a new level in which you don't have experience, and that's okay. And so now I'm like, oh, imposter syndrome, come on in, have a seat, stay for a day. I see you, and you mean I'm about to up level. And that perspective on imposter syndrome, like imposter syndrome showing up, is not a sign that you are going to do poorly. As imposter syndrome showing up is a sign that you are going to do well. So first we have to switch that. Self-doubt is normal. This is a really weird career. It's very deeply personal in a lot of ways, right? We are actually literally the product. That is a weird thing, right? Not a lot of careers have that. And so it's totally understandable. Here's what I'll say on how to handle those emotions. Let the doing change the feeling instead of the feeling keeping you from the doing. And this is something my business partner Karen talks a lot about. Is we have a decision each day. Are we going to be a doer or are we going to be a feeler? Are we going to be wake up and be like, what do I feel like doing? Well, if you feel self-doubt or imposter syndrome, we're not going to do the things. And you know what? That's just going to make it worse because then we're not going to make the impact, we're not going to get the results, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But if we're like, I feel these things and imposter syndrome is here, but I'm going to do the things anyway. I'm going to talk to people. I'm going to make the content. I'm going to be as helpful as possible. And that is going to change the feelings of self-doubt because we will overcome those feelings. I think one of the reasons we've been able to stay so successful in this place for 10 years, be able to support our families, deal with all the changes in ads and algorithms and different target markets and different products and new skill sets and all of that is because when we decide what we're going to do each day, we decide with our values, not with our feelings. And so part of it is understanding if imposter syndrome and self doubt come up, well, check under the hood. Do you need to adjust your offer? Right? Do we need to set up the path to success? Do we need a better way to answer questions? That might be part of it. The other part of it is we're going to let our values be our CEO. Our values are going to make the decisions on a daily basis, and we're going to make an impact no matter what. And then that impact will sit imposter syndrome and self-doubt down and say, you are wrong. The other thing about imposter syndrome and self-doubt is when we show up, people will still respond to us. And what we need to do is we need to not convince them that they're wrong. We need to believe them. Back when I was sick, it was the fall of 2017. I had this really successful business owner that had seen me speak a few times, and she was like, I think I want to work with you. And I was like, okay, sure. Kind of like, sure, okay. And I just thought she was being nice. And I didn't follow up. And I ended up working with her, and she gave me some compliments. And this was a person at that particular juncture in our career I would consider just like way more successful, right? Like more income, bigger businesses, more experience, etc. And she wanted my advice. And I was freaked out. My imposter syndrome was like, there's no way. But then there was a good point where I just was like, wait a second. I respect this person so much. They're so smart. They're so experienced. They're so successful. And they trust me. Maybe instead of believing me, the newbie, maybe I should believe them, the person who's trusting me. And that really helped with my self-doubt that I'm like, if people are like, hey, Tasha, I think you can help me, I'm going to believe them. I'm going to trust my client and I'm going to respect my client. I'm going to step into that space. I'm going to do the best of my ability. Ultimately, as we have our coaching businesses, the right thing, having the right price, that's not the most important thing. The prices can change. You can move them around up and down. You can change your offer as your target market changes. Our price can adjust, but what really, really matters is that we have some sort of pricing structure that allows us to go out there and ask, would you like to work together on this specific problem? And that's what we need to be able to do. We need to figure out a price that is going to help us to get out there and make offers instead of staying in our lab all day and not making offers because we don't know what the price is. Now, again, if you want to walk through all of this together, we're going to go over the people, the problems, the path to success, the packaging, and then also the pricing and our 5-day no-brainer offers challenge. And I want to invite you to that. It is free. Just type challenge in the chat. And if you'd like my notes, then just go ahead and type notes. And I hope this has been really helpful for you. I hope it's been encouraging. And I hope to see you soon, especially on the challenge. Bye.